Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice Radio. So today we got a bunch of cards from EB-03 that we need to be talking about. These are new cards helping out old leaders, and they're ones you should absolutely be aware of. Starting off with Charlotte Brulee. We got a 5-cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on your opponent's turn, once per turn, when Don is returned from your field to your deck by one of your own effects, and your leader is Big Mum Pirates, add a Don card from your Don deck rested. Basically, on your opponent's turn, when your Don minus use a skill or something along those lines, you get to get a Don immediately back. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, that's a little bit of a win. What leader are we going to be talking about here? Well, probably the Charlotte Katakuri, the one that came around very recently in OP11. Because that's a leader skill that's got a Don -1 on your opponent's attack, but to be fair, also when attacking, that lets you look at a card from the top of your opponent's deck and then gain 1,000 power for the battle. Now, all of a sudden, we got this new Charlotte Brulee that lets you, your Don minus to use Katakuri's skill, but then you can immediately get it right back. Because Charlotte Brulee is just going to return it to you? Yeah. That seems like a bit of a win, honestly, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to see that was in this a lot in EB-03. And basically what we've got is a bunch of cards which seem to be, a lot of the time, honestly targeted quite specifically to one leader. This is Purple Big Mum Pirates. It really seems to be for Katakuri. And it gives a real boost to that old leader. And that, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, is a little bit of a win. But don't worry, we have plenty more other than Charlotte Brulee that have gone and been revealed. We've got ourselves a Black Maria. What we got here is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000. If your leader is multicolour, you gain blocker. And on play, look at 5 cards on the top of your deck. Find one on Onigashima Island and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And play up to 1 Onigashima Island from your hand. This is going to remind probably a fair few people of Wiper. Because Wiper, we've got, sees a lot of play, incidentally. And that's a very similar thing with Upper Yard. Except I would argue that Onigashima, a lot of the time, is a much more impactful card than Upper Yard. Upper Yard is rather lovely because you get to, do some searching, but then when it's in play, it's just kind of sitting there and doesn't do anything else for like the whole time it's in play, which is honestly a little bit disappointing. Cool for the search initially, doesn't do too much afterwards. Onigashima Island, on the other hand, that is a very, very different proposition. That is, if you want to be playing Animal Kingdom Pirates, this is an absolutely crucial card. And it's one you basically want to try and mulligan into all the time, because you get to rest this stage and add a Don card from your Don deck rested every turn. It's frankly a little bit absurd. Now, it's worth noting that Onigashima Island is a 3-cost stage, and Black Maria is a 3-cost character, so essentially you're still on curve here. You're not playing Onigashima Island any later, you're still playing this as free Don. The only difference is we've now got a blocker with 4k out as well, and then we've got the Onigashima Island. Kind of ridiculous. Now, worth noting that in order to play this, you're going to need a purple and black Animal Kingdom Pirates. Needs to be black for Black Maria, needs to be purple for Onigashima Island, needs to be multicolored to get blocker. So we're talking about King. This is pretty obviously, I think, here, pretty gosh darn obviously, for the King that we've had since OP08, which is, well, it's been a little disappointing up till now. It's not been a particularly amazing card. It's not seen a huge amount of play and success. One of the ones you see popping up here or there, but never really being a big card like that. However, does seem like this is a particularly useful new card. And Onigashima Island really is just wonderful in terms of getting your Don consistently. It's one of the best tricks that Animal Kingdom Pirates actually have. So you know what? This feels like it could be pretty gosh darn good. I got my eye on this one. This one seems like fun. We have other Animal Kingdom Pirates leaders, but no other ones are black and purple. What's that? Not enough? That's all right, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got ourselves a new Conus coming in here, which I know is going to be one that makes a bunch of people happy, because I know there's a bunch of people out there in the One Piece community who are pretty excited about Sky Island characters. Now here we got 2 cost 0 power counter plus 1,000, but on play, one of your Sky Island characters gets double attack for the turn. Simple as that. You've got a counter, which is fun, because it means you don't have to use this to get double attack. You can use it as a counter, but it just says one of your characters with the Sky Island trait this turn gains double attack. Oh. Yeah, that seems pretty gosh darn good. And Enel has gotten a bunch of tricks in the not too distant past. Enel is one of those leaders that does every so often keep getting new tricks here and there. And this seems to be very, very much designed for that. This seems pretty gosh darned obviously for, getting your Enel. And you know what? Yeah. Now we're still playing Enel like we always have done, except we've got the option to get double attack with some of our characters. That seems like a win to me, ladies and gentlemen. That is one I have absolutely got my eye on. Now, one that a bunch of people are getting pretty gosh darn excited about, one that had a lot of positive pop when it got revealed, was the new jewelry Bonney. We get a lot of Bonney cards. Bonney is incredibly popular. This new one seems pretty gosh darn nice. Because we've got a 5 cost 6,000 power counter plus 1,000, and on play, if your leader has the Supernova type, set up to 1 Don card as active, and then one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 8 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. Oh, that's pretty good. Now, the getting a Don back, honestly, a vanilla character would be 4 cost 6,000 power counter plus 1,000, so getting the Don back is basically just doing that. But it's the making sure your opponent's character of a cost of 8 or less cannot be rested, that's crucial. And we've seen a bunch of cards like this before that stop characters resting. We've seen the rulings, we know what the deal is. They cannot attack, because that means they'd have to rest. They cannot block, because that means they'd have to rest. They cannot use a skill that would involve them resting, because they cannot rest. You see where we're going with this? Any skill whatsoever where the result would be that they end up rested, they're not allowed to use. Oh, yeah. That seems pretty gosh darn good. Now, it's worth noting this is a green supernova, and it is specifically for Supernova. That's very, very, very important. It is mono green, but the skill just works with any Supernova leader. Now, the obvious answer here is Bonney. The obvious answer here is we just go for your Bonney leader because it seems to work kind of beautifully there. It is not the only one with which it will work. The Zorro from OP12 is a Supernova leader. The Law from OP10 is a Supernova leader, and there are a couple of others, but they just don't really see anywhere near as much play. So they're the ones I've got my eye on mostly here. I do feel like Bonney is going to be the big recipient of this particular card, but let's not pretend there aren't some others that can get in on the action. We do have a couple of other leaders here that are green Supernova that are going to be looking at this going, hang on a second, I can take advantage of that. And yes, you can. To put it another way, any deck that can play Cavendish can also play this, just because it's a green supernova. Well, it's a green that needs a supernova leader. So any deck you thought about Cavendish in, you can start thinking about this in. But green just got a whole bunch better, and green's good as it is. Right now, green is pretty gosh darn good. Now all of a sudden we're giving extra tricks and making green even better. I would keep a very close eye on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Things could be about to get pretty gosh darn spicy. And then we might as well finish off with one more character here because we've got one more that's been revealed. Why not? We've got Marguerite. And what we've got here is 6 cost, 7,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And on play, you return a character with an original power of 7,000 to the owner's hand. Now, very important to note, it is an original power of 7,000, which means that if power has been lowered to 7k or whatever, you cannot bump it. And also, it is 7,000, not 7,000 or more, not 7,000 or less. It has to be exactly 7,000 power, which does make things a little bit awkward. It's really nice for removing characters from the field, but the fact that it has to be exactly 7,000 power and that it's original power of exactly 7,000 does make me look at this with a little bit of skepticism. But you know what? It is Amazon Lily. Does feel like it could work in, say, a Boa Hancock deck, for instance. This one seems a little bit specific for my liking. I'd love to be proven wrong, but this does strike me as one where we go, well, hang on a second. I'm not entirely sure. But Boa Hancock, the leader, does have that skill that activates when a character is removed from the field by your effect, lets you draw a card, so would fit nicely with there. This one I'm slightly less impressed by, but some of the others in this video, at Bonney, we are very impressed by. There are some good cards here, but I've told you all about them, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these new cards. Tell me which ones you think are going to see play. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at Lawasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.